Alright guys, what we have here is two different cylinder heads. Now the reason I'm making this video is because this is a cylinder head I got in a few days ago that I started working on. This is a cylinder head that I got in today. Now, I've looked at enough of these to be able to notice something that sticks out to me as an obvious difference. Now these two are both, castings that you can buy. Now, when I look at this casting, what I notice is this guide from the bottom of the bowl to the top of this guide here stands up a lot taller than this guide. When you look at this guide here, it's just barely inside the bowl. So what I want to do is measure the length of the guide on this casting, the length of the guide on this casting, and then measure from the bottom of the floor in the combustion chamber to the bottom of the bowl in each of them. So let me go ahead and take these measurements and see if there's an actual difference in the measurements themselves. So on the one that has the shorter looking guide, the measurement is 1383. Now let's go ahead and measure the other cylinder head. Now, see, there we go. It went from 1383 to 1448. That's what is that, 120 thousandths difference? So right there alone, it's showing that this has a longer guide. So now let's measure from the floor of the combustion chamber down to the bottom of the bowl and see if there's a difference. Let me get that again. So in this chamber, in the one that has the taller looking guide, we have 1333. Now let's measure the one where the guide appears shorter. 1258. So there's an obvious difference in these two castings. One of them has a taller bowl and a longer guide, and this one has a shorter bowl and a shorter guide. So if you look down the port of this head, now I haven't touched this head at all I've done is grinding inside the bowl and some welding, but I haven't touched the guides yet. Now if you look at this guide the way it came stock, you could barely see it break the top of that. Now we all know when we're doing the porting on these heads, what we do is try to streamline the guides. So this guide is already small and doesn't take up much air. So let's look at the other one. Now when we look at this guide is pretty big. Now this guide takes up a lot of space in there. No matter what angle I put it at, you could tell there is a big difference between these two castings. So another way to distinguish these two castings is on this one there's a Gx390. On this other casting I believe there isn't any numbers. So I'll tell you where these two castings were bought. This is from Everest and this is from Auto Parts Direct. If it was my choice, my engine, this cylinder head, if you cannot touch the guides, say if you're in a certain class of karting where you can't adjust the guides, you can't adjust anything, this cylinder head will have a massive advantage over this cylinder head. One thing that I know for sure, whenever I'm doing porting and bowl work, I always take a lot of guide material off and streamline the guide material. Another thing I do is on stage 3 when I do epoxy work, I fill in the bottom of the bowl because the bowls are too big. So in this cylinder head, it already has a smaller bowl and a smaller guide. So right there, if you couldn't touch anything, this head would have a clear advantage over this head. Now this head has been welded and been worked on, but I haven't touched the guides. But I was in the middle of working on this when I noticed this. So keep that in mind when you're buying a cylinder head. Auto Parts Direct offers a better stock cylinder head. It's gonna flow better. It has the same size seat, but the bowl is smaller and the guide is positioned. It just has a better casting. The guide is positioned more out of the way. So that's something that the normal person might not notice, and that would definitely give you a clear advantage in a race. So until next time, we'll see you.